We are fat! Hello everybody and welcome to the second episode of Live Healthy, Look Good. In the previous video we've discussed about the reason why people decide to go on a diet, and I assumed that the reason why is that they either don't like themselves and they think that people don't like them. Another reason may be that they want to be healthier, okay? Um, so what happens in this video, we will discuss exactly about what happens when they take the step further. So they take action. They usually decide to either go on a diet, as we've discussed previously, or to do exercise. Another thing, they can do both things. And which one do you think is the right thing to do? Vote here, please, if you want, and I will give you the answer. I think you know it, but I'm gonna give it to you in a second. Okay, you have voted, otherwise it's too late. The good one is that both things. Doing exercise, actually, even though people think is the reason why then you become muscular and fit and so on and so forth, doing exercise doesn't really affect that much your weight loss, your fat loss, okay? Doing exercise affects more your muscles than your weight loss. Of course it does, to a certain extent. There are other factors that are involved in burning fat, not only doing exercise. And doing exercise actually is not the biggest contributor. So if you thought that it was doing exercise and then you can eat as much as you like, no, it's not working that way. But anyway, let's talk about the first option. So going on a diet. People go on a diet, and that means basically going through some sort of I wouldn't say starvation, but almost. So some restrictions that which are really severe sometimes. I have a friend, I think I mentioned it in the previous video, about eating bread and watermelon, and I remember this in the 80s. He used to have this diet given by a dietitian at the time, and he was eating watermelon and bread, which actually didn't give him so many proteins, or not even so many fats. Probably it depends on the bread though. And then, however, he managed to lose weight, and that's because if you go on a scale, it just tells you your weight. Okay, but you never really look more muscular if you do a diet. Okay, this kind of diets at least. You just look the smaller version of yourself, and if you pinch your fat around, it doesn't really, it's not thinner. It's always the same or about the same thickness, because you haven't lost fat. What you have lost is mainly, along with water, is mainly muscles. And I'm going to discuss about this in the next video, what you lose and why you lose it. But that's what happens. And the worst thing is that because you lose muscles doing a diet, after you stop this diet, because nobody can keep eating watermelon and bread for all his life, your your basal metabolic rate decreases, which is the energy that your body needs to just keep alive without doing nothing, which is the biggest contributor to your weight loss, actually, to burning fat and so on and so forth. Because fat is fat is a passive tissue, and muscle is an active tissue. An active tissue costs energy for the body, while a passive tissue doesn't. Okay, a muscle, if you lose it, it decreases your basic metabolic rate. Sorry, I can't say that word for some reasons. while fat just stays there. You don't need any energy to keep fat. Fat stays there. Obviously, yes, if you move, you need more energy because you are heavier to a certain extent, though not as heavy as that the same volume would be occupied by muscles, because muscles are always heavier than fat. Okay, so what happens? Guess what? They either eat less, or because they are not aware of this, they go back to the old weight and maybe even further. Okay, that's due to mainly the fact that their their metabolic rate, the basal, I didn't want to say basal, I was afraid, metabolic rate has decreased, and therefore they need less calories or less energy, hence food, to keep alive. Okay. The other step, we were saying that there are two or three. The other is doing exercise, and I've been doing exercise for quite a long time in my life. In the 90s, I was doing kickboxing on a day, well, twice a week, uh, but I didn't really eat properly. Actually, I never ate properly at the time in my 20s. And that's mainly because I grew up on a family with no education at all in nutrition. So my mom, she used to buy all the fatty things, all the things that weren't really healthy or nutritional, high in nutrition things, okay? um, so I kept eating crisps, sweets, and a lot of butter, a lot of these fatty things. That's nothing against fat, though. We will discuss about this in another video. Don't know when, but for sure we will talk about fat. But by the way, I've never been really lean. Though, yes, I had some muscles. I was not looking really bad, but I always had my little belly. And that's never gone at the time. Now I'm leaner than in my 20s, and now in my 40s. So 40 years old guys, you still have hope. You can lose fat at any age. But that's just to say that if you do exercise and you don't eat properly, you can't really achieve your goal to have, for instance, a beach body. So that's why you need to eat properly and do exercise. You don't have to kill yourself. You may do 30, 40 minutes, maybe not even every day, maybe 2, 3 times a week. But then you have to eat appropriately, properly, whatever. that word that you know, and I don't, obviously. And by the way, I've been listening to my previous video in English, sort of English, and I've never heard myself speaking after I spoke, and I really realized how horrible I sound. And apologies for that. I hope you understand it. If not, please leave a comment below and let me know. By the way, resuming from the food and muscles and all these things. Also, as I was saying, people use the scale to determine whether or not they're losing weight. And yes, they may be losing weight, that's for sure. We've seen that they probably are losing muscles if they don't exercise. And there is this other thing. The weight and your height ratio determine your body mass index, which is BMI. You've probably heard about it a lot. And then, you know, this ratio gives you a number that's usually between 18 or up to over 30, maybe even below 18. But the healthy range is above 18 and below 25. Okay, if you are above 25, you are fat, you're overweight, or you are obese, or you know there are several degrees. And if you are below 18, you are underweight. Okay, in my case, I'm a very normal person. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not huge. So my BMI matches it. I'm within these two numbers, the 18 and the 25. I'm probably 22-ish. But if I was a bodybuilder, for instance, a lean bodybuilder, you would agree, if I've got my six-pack and I'm all ripped and shredded, and you know, you would agree that I'm not fat. Though, I may result obese because, as I said before, muscles are heavier than fat. And so this BMI and the scale, they really don't tell you the exact truth. So what you need to do from now on, if you are serious about that, and obviously we will discuss about what to eat, how much to eat of every single macronutrients, and how to eat. But so far, if you are serious about losing weight, what you need to really measure, it can be your weight, you can still measure your weight, but you also want to see your waistline. Okay, there are other ways, more complex, but this is very simple. You can take a tape measure, an anatomic tape measure, or the Taylor's tape measure. Those, that you can just turn around your body and take the circumference of your body, and take note. You may do it every month, every week. I would recommend to do it every week if you are obviously doing a diet and doing exercise. Otherwise, it's probably not very helpful. And take note of your waistline. So if it's always the same, if it's bigger, if it's smaller, and your weight. So you need to compare these two things. If your weight doesn't drop, but your waistline does, that means that you are more muscular, but you have lost fat. If it's the other way around, you have made fat and you probably are not lighter, you're even heavier. Anyway, the good thing is if your waistline shrinks and your weight doesn't really matter. It would probably shrink, but if it doesn't, as long as your waistline has, that means that you are getting leaner. And that's all I wanted to say. In the next video, I'm going to explain this principle of why you need to train and eat properly, and not just doing one of the two things in greater detail. But as I always said, well, always from the previous video, I don't want to keep these videos too long, so that you have more time to watch them. Please, if you enjoyed this video and if you want to know what's going to happen next, just click the subscribe button here. And also, you may subscribe to the playlist. There is a link in the description. Also, I would invite you to visit my blog about this article, because I speak about things that I don't mention in the video and vice versa. So you can complement. And that's pretty much it. Have a good day and be healthy so that you can look good. Bye!